Sharkie Gamer here. So today we're looking at the Call of Duty Black Ops Precision Aim controller. This is made by Catz, and this is the Xbox 360 version of it. Now there are other versions available for different systems. There's a PS3 as well as a Nintendo Wii version in the Call of Duty Black Ops sort of themed series. I have the PS3 version of the controller up on my channel already, so there'll be a link down in the description if you want to go check that out. And I'll also have the Nintendo Wii version up very shortly. So this is the Xbox 360 version. You can see the controller through the display window. And of course, straight away you can see the price ticket of when it really came out. And no, I did not pay that much for it. I only paid about $30 for this thing on sale. So, but that's the original retail price you see there. Call of Duty Black Ops. It's got the badge there, and it says Precision Aim Controller for Xbox 360 with the Xbox 360 logo, of course. Moving on to the side, it says basically large combat buttons for on-the-fly custom remapping. And it's got a bit of a close-up there of the buttons. Over onto the back of the control. So on the back of the box it says basically Precision Aim Instant Sensitivity Adjustment for sniping. Down the bottom it says large combat buttons for on-the-fly custom remapping. And of course it shows a bit of a close-up there of the combat buttons 1 and 2. And it says Vibration Feedback Technology. Immersive backlit analog stick modules, ergonomic non-slip grips, which are the sides, quick fire triggers, and 9.8 feet 3-meter braided cable. And it goes to more of the company information. And on the bottom it says the same sort of stuff in different languages. So let's go ahead and open up this box and have a closer look at this controller. So opening it up, it sits in basically a little tray there. We'll just pop this out. Now usually this will also come with like a quick start manual, but as I bought mine second hand it sort of didn't come with a manual, but it usually comes with just a really kind of basic kind of paper manual with just brief instructions of how to plug it in and change the modes and use the combat buttons, etc. Okay, so first off you can see it has a fairly long cable on this one, and of course that's the USB end there. And it is a braided cable, which means it won't easily get tangled or break very easily, so it's pretty strong and kind of rugged. On the main controller, you can see straight away it's Call of Duty Black Ops themed. It's got sort of the badge on there, and going into sort of more artwork around the controller, as well as it says Call of Duty Black Ops right in the center just there. On the sides of the controller, you've got these kind of grips. And like I said in my PS3 video, they sort of remind me of like a type of gun grip or even a knife grip for the handle of a knife. That's what they sort of look like. And they're on both sides to help you grip the controller a bit more easier. The top of the actual controller is sort of like a matte kind of feel. It's really kind of soft and smooth. It's not a bad kind of feeling. Going on, you've got your standard analog sticks, which also click down. You've got a D-pad here, which pretty much feels very basic. There's nothing really fantastic about the D-pad. You've got a back start, and you've also got an Xbox button in the center there. Over the other side, you've got your standard Xbox buttons, A, X, Y, and B. They don't feel too bad at all. They feel pretty decent. On the top here, you've got basically your bumpers and triggers. So here you've got your bumpers, which actually feel very nice. When you press these down, they have like a click to them, and they feel really, really good. If you've seen my PS3 video of the same controller, on the PS3 the bumpers on the top were just kind of weird and took a bit to get used to, but on the Xbox version, for some reason they did a really good job in making them feel really nice to press. Very responsive and very quick to press down. The triggers as well, going down, they feel more like gun triggers. They sort of got a slant, and when you press them in, they've got a bit of a click to them. They don't feel bad at all. They actually feel quite decent. Again, they feel a bit different from the PS3 version. The PS3 more had flat triggers, but still that kind of curve, so they feel a bit more like a trigger. Moving on to the back of the controller. So on the back here, basically you've got your combat buttons as well as some company information in that. But the combat buttons are your main functions on the back. So you've got combat 1 and combat too. And there's some modes there as well. Now the combat buttons are pretty much the main feature of this controller, but they come into two parts. So the first part is the precision aim part. So just me to explain what precision aim is. So when you're actually working like say on a game or something and you're trying to aim in that, sometimes you would wish that the cursor was a bit slower for especially sniping or, you know, kind of scope shots where you just wish the cursor was a bit slower to get that kind of precision kind of aiming going on. Well, that's where that comes into play. And they've been doing this on PC for years, where they take your mouse and you have like DPI adjustment where you lower it or higher it depending on how fast you want your mouse movement to go. I mean, some mice even had that kind of sniping button on it where it drastically reduces your DPI for that kind of slow movement, kind of precision aim sniping shot. That's basically what precision aim is. So to activate precision aim, you have these switches here, either set on RP for the right precision or LP for the left precision. And basically you just press down your combat button to activate that, and then from then on, so you have your button pressed down. By pressing it down, you're activating that function, and then from then on you can then aim with really kind of slow kind of cursor speed, which means it helps you get that kind of precision shot in for like a sniper or any kind of scoped kind of weapon, where you can just have slower kind of movements. And then straight away you can just let go of the combat button on the back, and then straight away it's back to your normal kind of aiming. And you can do it for both sticks, so depending on the game of which kind of stick you want to slow down, you can do it for both of them. And of course, straight away you can then swap to another mode, which leads us into the second part of the combat buttons. The other functions here are basically your RSB, X and Y, LSB, A and B. So basically what these do is they allow you to switch the switch onto, say, A, and let's put this one onto X, which means when it's set on this one, when you press the combat button, it's going to be X. When you press this one, it's going to be A. So basically when you're aiming, you're sitting there, you're aiming, you're firing, you're in the middle of a fire match, you don't want to take your thumb off your actual basically analog stick to then hit basically your A or your X button or anything like that. Instead, you can then press your combat button. Have it assigned to what you want, so A, and this one's A and X. So instead of pressing X here, you just press this back combat button just there. And you can still fire and everything while you're pressing that as well. So it just makes it easier so that you can keep your thumbs firmly on the sticks, so you don't have to sacrifice that by actually pressing these ones. And basically when it's on RSB or the left LSB, that's basically your buttons for pressing down the sticks. So basically instead of pressing down the stick, you can have it sit on that, and you just have to press the combat button to activate that function. So it's pretty cool, and that works pretty well. The precision aim function is ideal for anyone that wants that kind of slow kind of accuracy when aiming, especially if you really like to be a sniper, or like I say, any kind of close-up scope weapon where, you know, having that slow sort of aiming cursor speed is just ideal. And I mean, it's been on PC for years. It's awesome that they've actually brought it to some actual gamepads for the console, so console users can have that as well. I mean, I still prefer the mouse, but I mean, some of you guys are really awesome at aiming on the analog sticks on a gamepad, so this makes it just make that much easier for you guys to get that precision headshot that you could require for a sniper, especially if you're on a multiplayer match or something like that, that you kind of need that accuracy for the competition. Another cool feature of this controller is that these sticks, you see where that white is, they actually glow. So I'm just going to plug this in to a USB here just so I can illustrate that to you. And there we go. That's what it looks like when it's glowing. It actually looks pretty cool. It's pretty bright as well, and it helps you see the sticks at night, so you can quite easily have a bit of a glow going on. So pretty much like a little extra feature they just added to it. I kind of wish they had made the buttons glow, because it would have made it easier to see those buttons at night if they had it done, which would have looked pretty cool, I reckon, if they had have done that. But they just sort of threw it in as sort of an extra feature, which, I mean, it does look pretty cool. Now, one down point I found with this controller is the back of it. It actually gets a bit sticky after time, which I didn't find with the PS3 version, kind of funnily enough. But on the Xbox 360 version here, it just The back gets a lot more sticky quicker, I find. It's just from use and like wear and tear and stuff like that, but that's something that will happen on the back of the controller, I've found. Another thing, if you're one that say you really like to squeeze the controller, you're in the middle of a firefight, you just don't realize it, but you're squeezing the controller tighter. These grips, because there's a bit of a gap there, they'll actually dig into your palm a bit. So when you're actually squeezing them, that might get annoying after a time, and maybe a bit more prominent as well if you're really kind of long gaming hours. The upside though, they do help you grip the controller, and I mean they do provide a really good grip, so you can really hold the controller won't slip or anything like that. And the funny enough for this controller this time round, in comparison to the PS3 controller, like the D-pad is still bad in comparison to other controllers I've used, but in terms of like other things where it was bad on the PS3 controller version of this themed controller, it's not bad on the 360 version. And in general, this has actually more, it's more comfortable to use. It actually has better features, and especially those bumpers. They are so much better than the actual PS3 version. So much better. Miles better. In terms of actually using the triggers, I actually like the PS3 version triggers over this one. I don't know, the triggers just feel a bit better on the PS3 version controller, but they still work very well on the Xbox 360 version. Like I said, the D-pad's still bad, the grips still pretty much dig into your palms just like the other one. Overall, it's a very comfortable controller to hold, other than that kind of digging in a bit. It won't slip out of your hands or anything, you can quite easily fire. And those combat button remapping, as well as the precision aim, is a really awesome feature, and it's about time they've added that to a console gamepad controller. Other than that, like if you prefer to do like shooters or anything like that, then this is a controller for you, especially if you prefer like Xbox 3. There is a PS3 version, like I said, which I have a video up on my channel if you're interested in that at all. But yeah, I mean the Xbox 360 overall has a bit more sort of, I think they just thought it out a bit more for the Xbox 360 for some reason. Probably the down point, which a lot of you are going to see in comparison to the PS3 one, is the Xbox 360 one is cabled, while the PS3 one is wireless. I don't know why they did that, made one wireless and one cabled, but I mean you are getting the benefits of cabled, which means you're not going to have to worry about battery packs or anything like on the Xbox. You're always going to have a constant connection with the console, so that's an awesome point. And I mean it does have a very long cable, so you should have more than enough room to take it from the console to wherever you're sitting on the couch or chair, or wherever you're sitting away from your console. So it should be fine. It shouldn't have any problems with that. Overall though, I mean it's a pretty awesome controller. It's awesome if you like shooters, like I mentioned, and of course if you're a Call of Duty fan, as it's got cool Call of Duty Black Ops artwork on it. So if you're a Black Ops fan, then absolutely this is for you. Show you kind of fandom. And of course the next benefit is it's really cheap. Like I said, I bought this for about 30 bucks, I think. That was the original retail price at about $80. So I mean they're pretty cheap now. You can get them for probably even cheaper if you buy them out packaging, I think. So for the price they are at the moment, they're kind of ideal, and those extra features that they add, like the combat buttons and the precision aim, are well worth that kind of addition. Overall, it's a really cool one, cool controller, and I would really recommend it for any kind of shooting fans that like to play first-person shooters. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. That's about all I can say about this one. Like I mentioned earlier, I have the PS3 version up on my channel. I'll also have the Nintendo Wii version up very shortly, so if you're interested in seeing the other variations, then definitely go check that out. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll have heaps more controller and accessory videos up very shortly. If you like this video, hit that like button. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you'd like to. And thanks for watching, guys.